Let's stay in the state of Utah. TCU at Utah.
Okay.
Utah is only 3.5 points at home. Your initial thoughts. How do you feel about it?
I think they win this by 10. I think that the defense is going to show up. I think that when Kyle Whittingham comes out on Monday and says that they're going to work on tackling all week, you can be for sure they're going to tackle in this game. And I think that Utah, the Isaac Wilson situation is really hard to predict. I'll be honest. I'm going to give Buddy the benefit of the doubt and say he's going to have a big game. That he's going to show up. He's going to come in. He's going to, he's going to have a big performance, and he's not going to turn the football over. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But make no mistake about it. If Isaac Wilson comes into this ball game and turns it over once or twice, they're not winning this game.
Yeah, I think
so. It's really, my point is, it's difficult to understand. There's a lot of variables for Utah in this game.
I'm trying to find the consensus line, and most people have it under 49.5.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to ask you direct, when you say that about, I think that's an interesting point with Isaac Wilson.
Yeah.
What do you expect them to do offensively?
Well, what I would expect them to do to start the game is run the football. That's what I would expect you to do. This defense at TCU hasn't shown the ability to stop the run, hasn't shown the ability to hold teams down that way. So to me, I think when you talk about, getting Isaac Wilson into this game, moving on from Cam Rising, what's the first natural step? Hey, let's establish the run. Let's run the football. Let's run it effectively. Let's get 5 yards carry with Mekhi Bernard and company. From there, assuming they do that, and I do think they will do that with pretty regular, pretty easy to do that for Utah. From there, then I think you're going to start to see play action for Isaac Wilson. And the reason I say that is not because you should trust that Isaac Wilson's going to have some huge game, but Isaac Wilson is a quarterback that is built to play action football, to run the play action. He's a bigger kid, big arm, good vision, and when he's in rhythm, he throws a beautiful deep ball. The question's going to be, what's the connection to Money Parks look like? What does the connection to the tight end room look like? And if it's there, they're going to win this game comfortably. But I just don't think that we can have this confidence, just this outright trust that Isaac Wilson's going to come in here.
Big trust.
And trust, whoop, whoop. I can't do that with him, bro. I need you to show me that you can come out on a week's notice and beat this TCU team. And that's what I think the variable is. But I do think we should give Isaac the benefit of the doubt. Hey, trust that, just hey, he's going to come out and do his job. He'll be good enough.
Yeah, I'm worried. This is, in my opinion, the best offense that Utah has seen this year.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get Fatu and Kareni Reed back, I think they win this game comfortably. I think that TCU likes to throw the football. Utah is a defense that is susceptible to the passing game, in my opinion. I think that lessens if you have Reed and Fatu. But I also think that TCU does not stop the run well.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this repeatedly, that Mekhi Bernard is one of the better backs in the country that nobody knows about. And I think that if they run the ball effectively and they are able to control TCU's offense and keep TCU under 24 points, I do believe that Utah can win this game, because I think you are all in on Isaac Wilson. And I think that mental change that I've talked so much about, that I've heard so much about from people at Utah, that mental change to knowing that Cam Rising's not the guy anymore and that it's Isaac Wilson has it off this football team. And I think you are going to see that the top finally, they have no choice but to take the top off this offense. You cannot continue to be conservative and think that you are going to run the table in this league.
Yeah, you got to full send it.
Yes, which is the only thing that is possible for Utah to live up to their hopes and dreams, because nothing's been lost. And I know we had this debate earlier in the week, but how many games can you lose in this league and still play for a conference championship? I think the answer is 2.
I would agree with that.
And if you lose 3, I think your hopes of playing for a conference championship are done.
I think this game So this game to me is going to turn into a tight game that's going to be around 30 points for each club. And the defense is going to have to make a play to win this game. And I think that TCU has the last possession in this game and Utah is able to stop them on defense. Now, the only way that happens is if Utah can run the football, because if your defense is out there for 60 plays in this game, 70 plays in this game, TCU will win this game by 10 points. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Utah's defense is going to show up. I think the tackling technique and the discipline will return. I think, to your point, this is the best offense they've seen. This is a different ask than what you were asked to do against ASU. This team is not tough the way ASU was tough. This team is going to test your secondary. And every time their secondary has been tested, they've answered the bell. And I think that to me, that's why I'm going to take Utah in a 35-31 game to survive.
How bad from Isaac Wilson tomorrow? Because that's going to determine it. Are they interceptions down the field? You can live with that. Are they pick sixes on throws to the flat? That will end your season.
Yeah.
These are all things that I think you have to take into a consideration when you're looking at Utah's ability to win this game.
I don't think that Isaac's going to have the pick six and the flat kind of turnover. What I do think could happen is the over the middle, hey, the ball sailed on me a little bit, and now I threw a ball 15 yards down the field and they returned to 20. Like, that to me is a young quarterback is a mistake you'll make. Like, you understand how easy it is to just float a ball too high, to just oh, hey, trying to hit Brant up the seam there and just threw it too far. Like, that would be easy to do.
You can't on offense score 10 points in these games.
Yeah.
Utah has not seen a prolific, in my opinion, has not seen a prolific defense this year. Isaac Wilson has played Southern Utah in a tune-up, Baylor, Utah State, Oak State, and Arizona. There's not an elite defense in that mix. And I'm not telling you TCU's an elite defense. They're not. But what I'm telling you is he's got to prove that he can – this offense has to prove that they can score 30 points in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that they can. I don't know. I don't take the 38 points they put up against Utah State. That's not a good football program. They're in the middle of a federal investigation in Logan. I'm not gonna put a feather in their cap on that.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is, if Utah's going to win this game, and I think they will, he will have to limit his turnovers. You can't have, if he throws 2 interceptions, you're going to have a tough time winning this game.
Agreed.
And you are going to have a pick six against TCU. I think a defensive score is what it's going to take to win this game. And I think it is going to be something in the order of 28-24, 28-27. I think this is a really tight game. I think that TCU covers and Utah wins outright.
I agree with that. Just think it's more points. That's the only thing I differ from you on.
We'll see. I am not convinced. Well, and you're not wrong. And Mayor McCluskey is going to be a red ass about Utah, as always. Isaac Wilson has 3 touchdown, 8 interception ratio. Well, he doesn't. But I think that you cannot turn the ball over.
Yeah.
You just can't. And I think especially every opportunity that you hand back to this TCU offense, you're asking for trouble. Because this TCU offense can score points and has. And their worst moments have come in shootouts. So what's it going to be?
Yeah.
And I understand. I understand that TCU, it's not like TCU has played world beaters. I mean, you lost and gave up 30 points to Houston.
Right.
And that game was in Fort Worth. You beat Kansas and gave up 27 points.
Yep.
You lost to SMU and gave up 66 points.
So do you see what I mean? These teams that they've lost to,
UCF, SMU, and Houston are not good football teams.
But what can UCF do? They can run the football. They've got a back there, just the same way Utah does. I'm telling you, this has 150 on the ground written all over it. And
SMU ran for 238 yards on them.
Now, Utah's not going to have the number of possessions that SMU had in that game. But if you just take the total, the 66 points out of it, and you say, okay, cool, if we just chop that in half, they had half the possessions. If Utah can run with that same kind of efficiency, they're going to be fine.
Gave up 167 on the ground to Kansas.
Yep.
Which is a lot for Kansas. And then the Houston game, the numbers in that Houston game, I was looking at these last night. The thing that scares you is Houston was only 5 of 13 on third down.
And look at the second quarter in that game,
They
dude.
still scored 30 points. They still ran for 207 yards, being 5 of 13 on third down.
I'm telling you.
You're going and Mekhi Bernard will play a critical role here, but I think it's going to be very interesting.
Run the football, bro. Just run the football.
Yeah. I think that's going to be very interesting. And donuts. Boise State just secured $128 million from Learfield, FYI. Why does that matter? You guys understand Learfield is a radio broadcast company. So I don't know why that matters. Geoff, TCU wins by a score because Utah will turn the ball over and beat themselves. And if they do that, Kirk Mason, 24-17 TCU. Yeah, I think that is terrifying. If you're a Utah fan, because I don't think it's that outlandish to think that Zach Wilson's brother Isaac, see the cover.
See what you did there. Yeah,
that was an amazing save. I don't think it's outlandish to think that Isaac Wilson, who's got 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, as I said, who's been sacked 8 times, is going to turn the ball over. Is he turning it over on 3rd and long down the field? Okay, I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
Right.
If he's turning it over on 2nd and 7 to the flat, you're in real trouble in this game.
Yeah.
Because you do not want to give TCU any extra possessions. Not a single one. Not a single one.
I'm going to stick. 35-31 Utah. I think they're going to run the ball. I think Isaac will have a turnover, but I think generally he'll play well, and I think they survive.
Mayor McCluskey, if Utah's defense gets 412 missed tackles like they did against ASU and TCU wins, I don't see I don't see it happening in Utah wins. I think they're going to be ready to go defensively. Ready to go. Ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it just...
Yeah.
To me, that's the I'm gonna take Utah 27-24. Like I can't get Utah scoring 30 points. I can't feel that. I don't even know how you would. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, I the reason I think they're going to score more than 30 is because they're going to run the football at a high level. I think you're going to be in 3rd and short all day. I think that you are, and part of the Isaac Wilson conundrum is how effectively you run the football. Because if he's in 3rd and 8, the propensity to turn it over is much higher than 3rd and 3. And
I would agree with that.
And I think that I'm just telling you So earlier in the week we talked all about how this thing about moving on from Cam has freed the football team up, and the ask is very clear: you have to run the table. So now what that's done to your players is the players understand the mission. The players can come together and say, okay, this is the mission. I'm Mekhi Bernard. I got to go ahead and run for $150 in this game. I got to go ahead and punish that TCU defense. Hey, I'm the offensive line. I got to do my damn job on that offensive line. I got to move my guy off his spot. I'm telling you, this team, it can be an undefeated run the rest of the way. It can be that, but it starts this week with running the football. It's a core fundamental of any successful team, and it alleviates the Isaac Wilson concern. So when you say, hey, how do you get to 30 points? Well, you get to 30 points by running all over them and forcing them to come up to the line of scrimmage so that Money Parks can run free in the secondary. That's how you get to 30 points. And you're playing at home, and I don't know. This is going to be on Monday. We're going to talk about one of two things. We're going to talk about how this team came together. They ran the football. Isaac looked good. They tackled. They dominated this team. Or we're going to talk about you didn't tackle. Isaac's got 2 turnovers. Your offensive line looked terrible, and you didn't run the football, and your season's over. So I'm choosing to lean more positive because I believe in Kyle Whittingham. I believe in the coaching staff, and I think that they'll be able to get this job done.
Can you pound TCU running the ball?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, I do.
Because it's going to be a beautiful day in Salt Lake City tomorrow. I mean, if you look at the weather forecast, it all ends tonight.
Yeah.
So this game, obviously, 8:30.
Yeah. Saturday night.
You're playing on sport turf at Rice Eccles. Is it going to be? It's going to be probably in the low 50s, high 40s. I think weather won't probably be much of a factor because it's not supposed to rain or snow during the day tomorrow. So we'll see. I don't believe they can get to. I'm sorry. I don't believe they can get to 30 points.
Yeah.
I think they can control the clock running the ball. I think running the ball for Utah will allow them to limit the opportunities of that TCU offense.
Yeah. I don't think it's unfounded to be questioning whether they can get to 30 points or not. They haven't shown the ability, but I just think that when you look at the team, how it's built, when you look at what they went through this week, this could very easily be the, hey, we got over the hump. We smashed TCU. Like, we had that great feel good game, or it could be the end of your season. And I just think that Utah, I'm not just going to be like, oh yeah, Utah forgot how to win football games given the situation. Kyle Whittingham knows how to win football games, and that's why I think they'll be fine.
We shall see. Thomas Reed, SEC gets 4 bids, Big 10 3 to 4, ACC 2 likely with Miami and Clemson. The Big 12 only gets 2 if the Big 10 only gets 3. Well, I mean, in the Big 10, I don't even know. I mean, I would think you're getting Oregon and Ohio State are locks. I mean, I don't know. Penn State, obviously, is Penn State one of those?
They're in the conversation for sure.
I mean, if you look at who the likely in the Big 10, I want to believe in Penn State at 6-0. Well, actually, I don't. But I mean, you damage that. Never mind.
Yeah.
They've got a bye week this week before going to Camp Randall with Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is probably better than people give them credit for, but then you get that obviously Ohio State, Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, and Maryland.
Yeah.
I would think that you're going to be in position to play for a Big Ten championship. I would think.
Right.
I would think. The question is like Indiana. I have a hard time believing that everybody has Indiana at 6-0 and cool story, bro.
You just went Google me.
Cool story. I think that you're going to get Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And I just think there's not another contender. There's not another good football team.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana's solid.
The other one, the sore eye of the Big Ten is SC. That's the team that we should be talking about.
Yeah, but they're 3-3 and 1-3 in conference. That ship has sailed.
No, I know, but my point is when we talk about this, that would be the other team. That's who we should be talking about, but we can't because they've lost.
Yeah, and I think you look at the 2 lost teams. I mean, Iowa probably not. Nebraska probably not. Michigan can't score points. Michigan's not a very good football team, and their defense isn't nearly as good as we all thought it would be. Wisconsin, probably not. I mean, there's just not a real solid 4th contender there. And it all is going to shake out. Ohio State's got their destiny in front of them. That's what you're looking at. You're playing Nebraska next weekend. Then you're at Penn State on November 2nd. That's essentially going to decide who's going to the Big Ten championship game. Purdue at Northwestern, Indiana, and Michigan. You've got a cakewalk after Penn State.
Yeah.
You will not be challenged the rest of the year. You won't.